Hey, what's up guys? It's Mr. Azai here. So today I'm going to be doing a small Robots reviews video on the Phantom. So this is one of those more simple Robots reviews, kind of like the ones that I did originally in my first two videos, Phantom and the Leech, or the Ares and the Leech. But anyway, so here I've got a Phantom with me, and I'm going to just go over how good it is. I believe that the Phantom is a very powerful robot. It's one of those big three meta robots, which are essentially the Audrone, the Leech, and the Phantom, and I will have an Audrone review out soon. This Phantom's, as it is right now, has a pretty bad setup on it, the Orkan Pinata setup, and I only recommend using this setup if it's the only thing you can afford. With that being said, the Storm Gust setup is extremely effective, and even after the nerf, if it does happen, as it is on the test server, Phantom and Loki and all those like really fast robots that can get in and out really quickly, they are still going to be pretty good with shotguns, and I think Phantom is one of those robots that will still be okay with shotguns. Running a Storm Gust setup isn't really it's a little bit more expensive than running Orkan Pinata setup. However, I believe it is much more effective and it will do a lot more justice for you. Also, on the higher end of things, if you can afford it, a Corona Halo setup is also very powerful and gives you that ability to lock players down, further helping you with your little role as being like that's a quick guy. You get around, you could really annoy, harass people in their back lines. Another really good setup is Cryo and Rhymes. Now, I say this is not only a really good setup, but it's actually an extremely easy to get your hands on setup, because the Cryo weapon itself was in the Battle Pass, or the Operation Pass last season. If you got that, you could get two of them, and you could also get a Rhyme. However, there was also the Halloween event where you probably could get some Sinister Rhymes and Cryos, and I think that if you have been playing for some reasonable amount of time and grinding, then you probably do have some Cryo and Rhymes sitting around, but hopefully soon they'll be in the workshop anyway. I do think this works really good. However, it does need to be played a bit differently. Like as soon as you need to only attack when you have your ability up, which basically you run in there with your ability, then you attack, you fill in the load of all the, just shoot your entire clip basically, or magazine or whatever, rocket holder, and then you just get out with your ability. And I think that's a very, very effective way to play it. However, it does make it a little bit less effective when it comes to like contesting beacons, and I think the shotguns do that quite a bit better because they can hold their ground. However, again, after the nerf, if we're considering that, that's probably going to make them also have to be played similarly to the Cryo. Also, if you don't have a Phantom, there's actually a Phantom at the end of the Battle Pass or Operation Pass this season. It's the Stellar Phantom, and I think it's one of the best looking things that Pixonic has added to the game. It's very well designed. I love how it looks. And this season, I'd say if you just need a Phantom, and you want to run a Phantom as your main Phantom, I think that the Stellar Phantom is definitely a good way to go. 15 bucks, and if you can grind it, then you can get it, and I think it's really worth your money. But that's just me, because I mean, honestly, I got the Battle Pass, or I got the Operation Pass for free because some YouTuber, the whole YouTuber thing. But still, if you do, if you got it for free, then you should definitely grind for it. If you didn't get it for free, I think that it is a good idea to buy it. Under most circumstances, I find the Operation Pass is quite worth it, because you get so much stuff, but it does make the game a lot of a grind, and you should only really get it if you're interested in what's in it. For me, like the first Operation, I definitely got that because I really wanted that Deathwing Audrone. I thought it looked great. Here, I like how this looks, and I'm gonna try to go for it, so wish me luck. It also comes with like Stellar Halos, which will match it, and you could just put a normal Corona or Yandy Corona on it if you'd like, because there is no Stellar Corona, unfortunately. But anyway, that's enough about that. I think that all of these items, whatever, I think the Phantom in general is a really good robot to have one of in your hangar. It's just it depends on your play style and such, because you basically have a choice between a Phantom and a Loki when you're in higher leagues and you want a Beacon Capper. It's really just you play either Phantom or Loki. But the thing is, Phantom almost always counters Loki because it can hit Loki in its stealth. So I think that this Phantom is definitely, it's more aggressive than the Loki, whereas the Loki is a lot more laid back, high risk, high rewardy stuff. This one you don't have as much risk, because if you ever get into a bad situation, you could just get back to wherever you were with your ability. So yeah. Other than that, one thing to note with the ability, in case you did not know this, the ability not only makes you much faster, but it also gives you extra armor, extra defense points, so you're pretty difficult to kill. The Phantom is such a mini tank. You'll see people who have it really high leveled, and the secret to actually doing this is it's not just that you want it to have it really high leveled, because you'll see a lot of people in champions and they have these Phantoms and they're just completely indestructible. You also want to run some pilot skills, such as the extra armor pilot skill that gives you 15% bonus health, but you could also run these pilot skills that makes it so like when you capture a beacon you get defense points, and also run Battleborn on it because it has 3 module slots. I find that Battleborn, Last Stand, and Anti-Control are basically the best things that you could run on this. That Battleborn will really help you, and you should also run this Raider, I don't remember what it is, but basically one of those beacon skills where whenever you capture a beacon, it'll give you defense points. And I think that's a very good one because you can actually grab the beacon at your home. Because if usually you spawn the Phantom first, you grab your home beacon, and then you have some defense points, and then you use your ability, and then you have also your Battleborn, so you got a lot of defense points, and it's extremely difficult to kill you. Especially, one thing about this is not only is it like a tank and it's got all that health and stuff, because it is very difficult to kill, but it's also not, it's super fast, so it's hard to hit, and its hitbox is very small. You'll have tanks like Fenrir, and Fenrir in specific. Fenrir has a really big hitbox, so even though he has a ton of health, you can really get him down there if you're using shotguns and such. But the Phantom and even the Falcon, they have much smaller hitboxes. They're much harder to take down, to pin down, to get rid of them. They're absolute pain in the butt, and that's how you should be playing this. If you've ever played Overwatch, you could play it basically like a Tracer, because it has that blink ability. It gets you back to safety, but it does not heal you. But then again, as for active modules, I very much recommend you run either healing or phase shift. Although healing is, in my opinion, it's a bit better for brawling, whereas phase shift is better just for protecting your butt in case you get into a bad situation. So it's just really your choice again. A lot of these robots, they're very highly customizable. That's one of the things I do like about War Robots. You could customize this to fit your playstyle in the perfect way. And yeah, that's basically it. Other than that, there's also to note, if you want to make your Phantom even harder to kill, last Operation Pass had a 5% bonus HP skin you could run on the Phantom, so I would recommend running that if you have it. There's also a legendary pilot for the Phantom, which I think it's among the better legendary pilots, because a lot of legendary pilots, I mean, they're okay for what they do to the robot, but it's not something like incredibly amazing. Like for the Phantom though, it is one of those really good ones, and it's like in the top legendary pilots for their bots. Like I think the Leech legendary pilot is amazing for its bot, and the Nemesis legendary pilot is amazing because like it gives you a longer shield. And this one is just like the Nemesis legendary pilot. It gives your ability, I believe, 2 extra seconds, which basically just means you have that armor and that bonus speed for a little bit longer, and that's a very, very powerful ability in my opinion. So if you do have the legendary pilot, I believe it's like Olga something, Olga Minma, I don't really know how to pronounce the name, but if you do have that, it's a very good thing to run on the Phantom. I do recommend it. Other things for skills, a lot of robots you run mechanic on it. This is okay for running a mechanic, but if you're running a healing module, I don't think it's as necessary because you could just heal yourself with that. And with this robot, you're not getting as many chances to like sit back and relax because your ability is always like it has a 10-second downtime, and then you're back in the fight already. So you're not going to get as much use from mechanic. I'd almost always recommend mechanic on basically anything but like these really saboteur robots. Um, there's also shot grouping skill if you're using the shotguns. Again, it's okay to use that, but like, with this, like you're really fast, you're able to close the distance with the shotgun, so I don't think it's as necessary again. And so yeah, the pilot is definitely going to be a lot weirder than most of your normal robots, where you just have those abilities that you always use. This one you want to be running some different abilities that will give you much more niche whatever for what you are doing in particular. So just the way that you're playing. Also, one thing to note about the storm is the storm gust setup. I think that the best setup is actually a combination of the Storm Gust setup and the Corona Halo setup, which is the Storm Halo setup, because the Storm actually does higher damage than the Corona, and the Halos do higher damage than the Gusts. The Gusts are, for some reason, just entirely worse than the Halos. I don't really like that, but that's just how it is. The Gusts and the Thunders are entirely worse than the Glory and the Halos, but the Storm is actually better than the Corona, so you could run that like that. Although, when it comes to Orkan Pinatas, I do not recommend trying that with the cryos because, again, Orkans and Pinatas are very dated. They're not very powerful, whereas the cryos are going to be extremely strong. Maybe if you are missing a rhyme, you have like the cryo and one rhyme, and you're missing a rhyme, you could run a really high level Pinata, but I still think that it'd be better to substitute that for a Halo or something instead. Uh, One other setup that I do want to briefly go over is running like Rhymes and Igniter or Cryo and Blazes, although I think Rhymes Igniter is a little better. This is a very powerful setup. For some reason, ironically, the ice weapons and the fire weapons pair up together so well because when you freeze enemies with the ice weapons, it makes them so much easier to hit with the fire weapons, even if they're really fast. And the fire weapons, they inherently do a ton of damage, and it's just like for the drawback that they're hard to aim. So if you can freeze them like that and be able to aim on that really easily, you get that, and you also get that 20%, which you wouldn't get from lockdown. So yeah, that's just in my opinion, I think that is one cool thing that you could try to run. Although I still do think that for most people, running shotguns is just going to be the go-to um, for this kind of robot. One last thing I want to go over is strategies. This robot is very good because of the fact that it can actually brawl the heck out of other robots extremely well. Let's say that you have a leech. Now, you might have experienced this, and it's usually when a higher level player does it to you, and it happens to all of us, and don't feel bad when it happens to you. If you're in a leech, you're low level, like your only leech in your hangar, it's level 9, equipped with like 3 storms and 1 corona, and you're still working on the other storm or something, trying to grind all that gold, or you know what I'm talking about. And you see this one phantom, and he blazes down to you like max speed, basically teleports to you, and then he hits you and like half your health disappears, you use your ability and he's gone. That is the entire strategy with the phantom. Whenever you're fighting robots, you are a mini tank. You can get all up in them, you could hit the heck out of them and force them to use their ability, and then run away, wait for their ability to go off, and then go chase them again and kill them. And that is an extremely good thing that this robot can do, that like things like the Loki can't really do that. Like, yeah, it can just hide back in its stealth, but if they have anti-stealth, that's the end for you. But if you're like, you just ran down like 300 meters, point blank them, and now you're 300 meters away behind 20 buildings, you're completely safe, and then you could wait for their ability and your abilities recharging, and you go back in with your ability and finish them off. That is it's a strategy a lot of those higher level players with the extremely strong, hard to kill phantoms will use. Hell, I've had some of them. They don't even like teleport back to their ability. They just keep like attacking you while and you shooting them back with like four weapons, and they're just fine because they have such high health. And that's one thing about the phantom. It's hard to kill it with the most popular weapon, which is shotguns. It's very difficult to kill with shotguns, and it has a ton of health. It's like really small, it's really fast, and overall, I do think that the Phantom is very deserving of its spot in the meta. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I probably said that way too many times and just thought of something else to talk about, but I think that I've got everything now. Next video, I think I'm going to do it on the Aojun, because that is one of the other big meta robots, and then maybe I'll go individually do rating the Titans, although I have one video on my channel that rates all three of them, but I made that back before they were even released, so I'm not sure about the credibility of it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching my video. I'm a stupid looking octopus, and I'll catch you on the flip side.